If you're like me, you probably love your morning cup of coffee, but did you know that caffeine is actually more than just your morning pick-me-up, and it's actually one of the most well-researched fitness supplements? Today's video is for all the fitness enthusiasts out there who want to know how to take their performance and their results to the next level. I'm going to explain how caffeine works, the kind of impacts it can have on your workouts, and whether you should consider it as a supplement even if you're not an athlete. And make sure to stick around to the end of the video because I have a very special free guide that I created for you that is going to make a huge impact on your fitness performance, so stay tuned. Hey everyone, I'm Coach Andres. If you're new here, I'm a registered dietitian who helps professionals and parents completely transform their nutrition and their bodies. My goal here with this channel is very simple. It's literally to give you the tools you need to crush your career goals and show up as the best version that you can be for yourself and for your family by mastering 4 things: nutrition, fitness, mindset, and lifestyle. Really excited for the video that I have for you today because it's the first one I've ever created since relaunching this channel that focuses a little bit on fitness performance. If you haven't heard of my story yet, I started out my career working as a sports dietitian for elite athletes, helping them use nutrition to get a competitive edge. Now, for an athlete, their body is their most important tool to thrive in their sport. But as I started to apply some of the insights that I learned from working with athletes to my own life, I realized that no matter what your career is, nutrition has a major impact. If you want to reach peak career performance, it is essential that you fuel your body and build lifestyle habits that support your confidence, your energy, and your focus. Think about it. When you're taking care of your health and you're feeling great in your body, you can think clearly, you're more productive, and you're more creative. You also have a lot more energy to help you get a lot more done in less time. And then, because you have this extra productivity, you have more free time for your kids, your partner, hobbies. So as you can see, there's a huge domino effect that your nutrition can have in your entire life. Now, I pivoted away from working with elite athletes, or at least not as much as I used to anymore. And with my company, Planners Nutrition, I work with men and women who are trying to grow their careers. Most of the clients that we serve, they have fitness goals that they're working on. And since you're watching this, maybe that is something that you can also relate to. Because it's a huge passion for me, this channel is also going to share sports nutrition strategies, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do in this video. The videos that I create that are more focused on sports nutrition are going to help you optimize your fitness performance and fuel your fitness goals, whether you're an athlete or you're just someone who loves to stay active, maybe a weekend warrior. So if that sounds like it's something that you want to learn more about, take a second right now to hit that subscribe and hit that little bell to be notified when my new videos are released every single week. Okay, let's get started with our conversation on caffeine and whether it can help you build muscle or reach your fitness goals. I love diving into the science of nutrition and performance. I'm a huge nerd. So I'm going to be talking to you about some research today, but don't worry, it's also going to be very practical for you. You're going to come away with tips to enhance athletic performance. But at the same time, you're also going to get some interesting facts about the research on caffeine, and you can maybe pull this out in parties to impress your friends. Does that sound like a plan? Perfect. Let's go. So let's start with answering the most important question. What is actually caffeine? Well, caffeine is a natural stimulant that acts on your nervous system. When you drink that morning cup of joe, caffeine quickly crosses what is called the blood-brain barrier. Now, without too far into the science of it, there is a neurotransmitter in our brain called adenosine. Normally, adenosine binds with receptors, and this causes the body to slow down and feel drowsy. Caffeine has actually very similar chemical structures to adenosine, so it fits into the same receptor. You can think of this kind of like a key going into a lock. When the adenosine key goes in, it causes you to feel tired. Caffeine is like a very similar key that fits into that same lock, but it doesn't have the same effect. Instead, it blocks adenosine from going in and doing what it's supposed to do. So the result here is that caffeine prevents you from feeling tired. At the same time, it also increases other neurotransmitters like dopamine and also norepinephrine, which give you more mental clarity and also give you alertness. Now that you understand the general way that caffeine works, let's get a little bit more into the fitness side of things. The effects caffeine have on your body, they go way beyond just keeping you awake and focused. There are also a number of effects on performance in both strength and endurance sports that are supported by research. Let's start with aerobic endurance. This is the type of exercise where studies have found there are the most consistent and significant effects on performance with caffeine supplementation. This includes things like long distance running, cycling, cross-country skiing, and maybe swimming. Caffeine can cause your muscles to take longer to feel fatigued, so you can push yourself a little bit harder in your training or competition. Something interesting with this research though is that some people might not see an improvement in their performance because of their genetics. One study looked at the time it took participants to cycle for 10 kilometers, which is about 6 miles, and the cycle time only improved for those individuals with a specific variation in a gene that is related to caffeine metabolism. So the big takeaway from this is not everyone is going to see the same results from caffeine, so monitoring your own personal response is one of the most important things when you're taking this in. The next thing you might want to know is whether caffeine has any effects on muscular strength and endurance. Usually in studies, strength is tested using what is called a 1 rep max, which means lifting the maximum amount of weight you can lift in for one single rep. Imagine you're doing a squat. Like, what is the maximum amount of weight you can only lift once, not twice? With tests for muscular endurance, usually test subjects or the people that participate in the studies, they perform repetitions of squats, maybe maximal push-ups, or bench press to muscular failure. It's typically been found that caffeine causes small increases in strength and endurance, but some studies have also found no effects. So we do need a little bit more research in this area. However, it's very important to keep in mind that the inconsistencies in the research could be due to the same genetic variation I mentioned earlier. The last type of physical effect of caffeine is for power, which is basically how fast and strong you are at the same time. For example, if you lift a heavy weight very quickly, you have a high power output. In studies on performance, this is usually measured with single or repeated sprints, either running or cycling. While some research has found moderate impact when taking caffeine, many studies on power have also found that caffeine didn't really have any effects. With power, you can also look at things like throwing or jumping. So this is maybe sports like high jump or shot put, but maybe some movements even like basketball and like jumping in basketball. In studies on these aspects of power, they found that caffeine typically increased vertical jump height and throwing performance. So to summarize the effects on physical performance, research has shown that caffeine has small to moderate effects on various types of exercise. But now I want to talk about the cognitive benefits, because in my opinion, these are going to be the most important for someone who is maybe not a high-level athlete. As I'm sure you've experienced, caffeine can increase alertness and concentration, which can help you stay focused on your training and maintain high intensity throughout your workouts. It's also possible that increased attention and focus during resistance training could benefit the mind-muscle connection. A strong mind-muscle connection can help you target muscles more effectively with better form and better technique. Studies have also found potential benefits for reaction time and memory with caffeine supplementation. This may not be applicable to you unless you're an athlete or you play recreational sports, but caffeine has some really interesting sports-specific benefits. If you're not really into sports, this may fall into maybe the category of fun facts or like information that you know about that you can share in parties with your friends and seem really smart. Now, caffeine has been found to increase rebounds and successful free throws, for example, in basketball, increasing passing accuracy in soccer, and increase the number of successful volleyball actions within a game. So, for example, successful passes, blocks, and hits. So you might be wondering, after all of this research, is caffeine actually going to help me build muscle? Well, it may help, but probably not for the reasons that you may think. It's not going to provide you with superhuman strength, and most of the research supported physical benefits like increased endurance and power are going to be for athletes, which very small increases in performance are the difference that can actually make between winning and losing a competition. But the biggest factor for most people in building muscle and seeing results from the gym is simply showing up. If you don't make it out to the gym because you're tired from work or you're not really feeling motivated, you're not going to build muscle or reach any performance goals because you're not even showing up at all. It's as simple as that. For many people, having some caffeine can give them the boost that they need to get them out of bed or up from their desk and get started with the workout. I see this all the time with pre-workout supplements, which I'll do another video at some point. Now, it's not that the average person needs a pre-workout supplement to see huge performance gains, but if drinking a pre-workout drink that contains caffeine, because it's the only thing that gives you that stimulus, gets you into the headspace to go to the gym when you may have skipped it, it may be a good strategy for you to use. For most of the people that I worked with, it's not really the intense caffeine fuel sessions that get them to their goals. It's just showing up to the gym on a consistent basis. Now, if you want to use the caffeine for its effects on performance, you might be wondering how much is being used in all these studies where they found some positive results. So let's talk about dose now. The typical dosing to see impacts on physical performance is 3 to 6 milligrams per kilogram. For a 160-pound person, this works out to be about 220 to 440 milligrams of pre pre-exercise caffeine, which will be about 2 to 5 cups of brewed coffee. Because 5 cups of coffee pre-training is not convenient or ideal for most people, a pre-workout supplement may be the best option for most athletes who want to see an impact on their performance. Now, having your caffeine 30 to 60 minutes before exercise will give you enough time to reach peak levels in your bloodstream so you see the effects on your workouts. That is very important. You cannot just take caffeine and within a minute you're gonna feel the effects. You have to give it some time. Now, as I mentioned, unless you're really getting in the zone to crush your performance goals, 1 cup of coffee might be enough to get you focused and in the headspace for your session. The biggest point here that I'm trying to get across is that if you're struggling to hit the gym consistently, 400 milligrams of caffeine isn't really a magical solution. It could actually do more harm than good. Speaking of more harm than good, let's talk about the side effects here for a second. The biggest one is the impact that it can have on your sleep. If you have caffeine too close to bedtime, it can disrupt your sleep patterns and cause decreased recovery. The drawbacks of not sleeping enough far outweigh the benefits caffeine will have. So try to avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. And I definitely don't recommend any pre-workout supplements with caffeine if you work out in the evening after you get home from work. The other possible issue with caffeine is that the high doses that might have performance benefits can also trigger or increase anxiety. So it's really important to monitor how caffeine is affecting you. The last thing I want to add here for today is the importance of other lifestyle factors for energy and fitness performance. Even though I said that caffeine can help you give you the boost that you need to get yourself to the gym, if you're running on empty and need caffeine to get through every training session, there are other daily habits that should be addressed first. Caffeine and other pre-workout supplements aren't really a replacement for 8 hours of sleep each night, taking rest days, and eating enough calories to fuel your body. Okay, time to finish things off here with a little summary. Caffeine has been shown in plenty of research to benefit performance, but the effects aren't massive. Most of the typical physical benefits will be for athletes. Now, if you're just someone who's trying to improve their health and their body composition, focus on consistency in the gym first. Caffeine can actually help you get that session and make it a little bit more focused and intense. That's great, and it will definitely have benefits for you. After consistent habits and a training schedule are established, and that's your foundation, supplements like caffeine may be able to help you elevate your performance to the next level if that's actually a goal for you. And remember to always check in with yourself to see how your body's responding to caffeine, and any supplement for that matter. Everyone is different, so keep an eye on your sleep and anxiety levels, and finding a time and dosage that works well for you is one of the most important things that I highly suggest and recommend. That's all I have for today. Before I finish things off, I want to kind of give a disclaimer. Anytime you're taking supplements or taking anything that is not natural or actual food source, every time you're doing any of this stuff, I highly suggest you check with a healthcare practitioner like myself, like a registered dietitian or a doctor, before you take anything new into your system. Thank you so much for tuning in into this more sports nutrition focused conversation. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you really like content like this, make sure you drop it in the comments. Since you made it to the end of this video, I wanted to tell you about a special guide that I created just for you. It's called Fuel for Fitness, and it's a 20-page guide that covers everything from pre and post workout nutrition, high protein snack ideas, to a full guide to fitness supplements. If you want to download it, go literally to like the box below, check out the link and download it. All right, that's it. I'll be back next week for a new video to help you and your journey to reach your health, your fitness, and your fat loss goals. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet, and I'll see you in the next video.